and gentlemen, let me introduce to the panel members for this session. We have Raghav Roy Kapur, who's the moderator as well. He's the director of Live Wire Events and Promos. He founded this company and is the mentor, and which this agency is very widely known. A known face and name in the business of events and experimental entertainment, Raghav and the agency led by him has been the backbone of many successful events across the nation and globally. Into its 16th year, Live Wire brings to the table keen sense of creativity, dependability, and experience to its customers. Raghav is a staunch believer in customer experience and pushes them to deliver beyond. Please come up on stage.
Thank you, Tamshil. Thanks.
No worries. Next, we have NAZEEF Mohammed. NAZEEF Mohammed is the founder and creative director for BTOS Productions. He's a talent management and content production agency owner. NAZEEF is also the show director of A.R. Rahman Live in audition to handling talents like Shreya Ghoshal, Neeti Mohan, Benny Dayal, and others. Under the glorious mentoring of A.R. Rahman sir, NAZEEF has revolutionized large-scale concerts by blending technologically forward ideas with artistic concepts. Please come up and say, Mr. NAZEEF. Up next, we have DEEPAK PAWAR. Mr. DEEPAK PAWAR is the Secretary, EMA, and Managing Director at Midas Next Media Private Limited. Mr. DEEPAK is the spearheading for over 2.5 decades and believes the core values and creativity that he had envisioned and has successfully amalgamated them today. I welcome to you upon stage, Mr. DEEPAK. Last but not the least, we have HARSHAL KOTHARI. I don't think words need to describe you. Please join us on stage. Let us now begin the panel for the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamshil. Thanks for the introductions. Well, it's not a full house, but I hope there'll be some more people joining in. Guys can come closer, please. Jo bhi piche baithe hain. So good afternoon, folks, and on behalf of EMA, that's the Events and Entertainment Management Association, thank you all for being here today, and I'm so happy to be interacting with everyone, colleagues, people from the supply chain, partners, after about two and a half years almost. Forbes magazine recently wrote, and I quote, "Most of the jobs for our industry in the year 2030 have not even been invented yet." So I'm going to leave you with that thought, and I'd like to begin by saying, our future, guys, looks really bright. You know, we're back with a bang, and we've come back stronger, we've come back wiser, post these 2 years of exile, as I'll call it. So hotels are full, venues are full, they're completely booked, technical partners, neck deep in work, artists, entertainers are buzzing, and I think it's great to see an air of positivity around in our industry finally. You know, in this period of pause that we experienced over the last 2 years almost, there's been a paradigm shift in the way our industry now chooses to operate. Whether it's the workspace, the workforce, or professionals from the industry, I think everyone seems to have been bitten by the bug, and the experiential industry is looking at a sea change in the days to come. Our session today, gentlemen, Futurenomics, the future of work, is a projection of how workers in the workplace will keep evolving in the years ahead. And I think this is something that keeps many entrepreneurs, CEOs, businessmen like Warren and several others up at night as they kind of make decisions that enable the organizations to thrive today while they drive the future from here. MICE is going to be big. Corporates are coming back. The live music scene is just bursting with energy. Weddings are seeing a lot of scale. Destinations are active again. Our virtual events here to stay. Is hybrid the way forward? Let's find out from our fantastic panelists. So, thanks guys for taking our time today to be here. So NAZEEF, let's begin with you. How's business been? The buzz on the street is that you really rocked the UAE from the Dubai Expo, guys. Great round of applause for NAZEEF. He represented India, I would say represented by fact of doing the entire program management for the Dubai Expo, am I right? And I think it's a proud moment for all of us. So let's hear from NAZEEF how it's been, and then we'll go to other panelists as well.
Thank you, sir. Before we get into what happened at Expo, I think for all of us sitting in the audience and here, it's a small number, but I think we have to acknowledge and pat ourselves on the back for surviving through the pandemic and reaching this point. Hats off to our partners, vendors who adapted to situations to provide us with solutions that we didn't know we could provide to our clients. We have Warren sitting in the audience, who was primarily always known for being the chief sound man of the country, converted himself quickly into providing virtual solutions for virtual events that we didn't know we could do for our corporates. So firstly, thank you for being so adaptable, and thank you for leading the way for us in times we didn't know we could even eat 3 times a day properly. This guy sold his iPad in the pandemic, he said, but he's got a bigger one right now. So hats off to all of us. I think we are resilient, we are amazing, and Expo in a way kind of opened up the, I think it kind of defined the thin line between pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, because of the way they managed audiences, because of the way they managed 200,000 people coming into a single site every day, and telling us that, okay, you can do all of this even in a COVID world. That was a huge eye-opener, and I think we should learn and apply from that model into our country, because all of us thrive on audiences. Virtual could be here to stay, hybrid could be here to stay, but what really, I mean, you do weddings so much, I think there is no way you can avoid people coming together. So there is a bright future, and I think we can capitalize on the current heat on the fact that people want to attend live events versus virtual events in all formats, actually. Corporate, live events, weddings, all of it. So yeah, that's the take home as of now.
That's fantastic.
I'm not going to comment on the success of Expo, because that comes once in 5 years. We have to plan.
Yeah, but it also sees you through the next 5 years.
Hopefully.
All right, so quickly, Harshal, weddings are suddenly seeing a lot of scale. Of course, the pandemics, the pandemic did see smaller weddings, more curated weddings, smaller numbers, budgets were larger. But suddenly in the last 3 months, we're seeing there's a lot of scale in weddings. So how has the year been so far, and how is that kind of translated into numbers? Are you seeing more spends? What's it like? Can you please tell us how the scale is kind of back?
So Raghav, honestly, the wedding market is currently very promising for next 2 to 3 years. So we were expecting that the market will grow many times, and honestly, I see that the next 2 years is very good for the wedding industry, and the scale of the weddings have increased much larger on the domestic level. I mean, we used to do weddings where most of the clients were opting for international wedding, but for the good news for the industry, that now most of the big ticket weddings are happening in India. And moreover, the hotel industry have come up with a lot of new properties which are, which are able to take more people looking at the Indian wedding. So initially we had a problem with number of room inventories available for a wedding of 800,000 people were not available. Recently, Leela, Marriott, they have come up with properties which have more than 450 rooms. And that is something which was missing for a lot into the industry. So because of which now we can expect the wedding industry to boom back. And moreover, not only wedding industry, but the social industry is one segment which is going to boom back, which would include right from an anniversary to a birthday to a cocktail party and many more. So yes, the future looks very promising, and I'm sure we all will be a part of the same for making money.
Absolutely, and all the best to you. Well, moving here to my friend DEEPAK PAWAR, MD Midas Next, and also the founder of Streamy. He's still very gung-ho about virtual and hybrid events, and he's kind of moving forward big time in the tech space with lots of innovation, with a studio, etc. So DEEPAK, you're one of those guys who's still saying that, hey, I'm still going to stick to this, and hybrid is still going to be very big in the future. So please tell us what your take on this is.
Thank you, Raghav. First of all, on behalf of IMA, I would like to thank you to accept at such a short notice to moderate this show. Yeah, and you being yourself in the live industry and the amount that you can speak today, I know. but then you're asking us to do that, and I would request you also to give your insights in the due course in between of the session. At EMA, we were the first ones, if you look at it. In fact, you were a part of the whole sessions where we managed to do 200 plus. On the day of the lockdown, the 21st of March, we did shows, live shows. Yeah, 5 shows in a day we were doing on Zoom and things of those sorts. And somewhere in mid of June, July, we realized that virtual is going to be there, and that's going to come in, and because corporates will need some kind of an environment or a platform. So we managed to build that platform. That's the same time when Warren also had his massive infrastructure set up for the same. So a lot of companies were going there to him. I was also a part of it. So we built slowly, we did build that infrastructure. Bigger, I think, sentence which came in from one of the gentlemen at Mahindra is, geography is history. You know, you can be sitting in any part of the world and operating from anywhere. And that's something which stayed till 2021. And we suddenly had to say, I had to change my line to say, geography is geography and history is history, because live events, I think nothing to beat those.
But I think what really came out of this is a silver lining, especially for corporate clients, where they realized that geography is not important, wherever the agency is based out of, wherever the artist is based out of. There was a time where people still wanted you to be in the same city, they wanted a SPOC. Everything has moved on to digital platforms today. You have Google Meets, you have MS Teams, and clients are today very okay doing that. So I really think productivity has gone up, productivity of teams has gone up, and clients are now okay with it. Where they would want to call you for a 1-hour meeting, you travel an hour and a half and an hour and a half back and waste half a day on that. I think there's a lot more juice you can kind of get out of your day. Talking about technology, Deepak, what's your take on the technology of the future? You know, there's this whole hullabaloo about the metaverse, which I'm not very personally a fan of, but do you see this impacting physical events? And also, weddings have been happening on the metaverse. Daler Mehndi, one of the most traditional artists of India, conventional artist, was one of the first guys to bite it. Justin Bieber performed there, got a huge turnout. And there's a lot happening there. So please, we can begin with you, Deepak, and I'll come to Harshal.
I think the key word, if I would say, in our industry is creating experiences virtually. Okay. Now, what has happened is Web 3.0 has given that kind of freedom. See, I would say virtual real estate. Everybody is in, they will have to. That's the future keyword. Another 1 year down the line, there would not be anyone there who would say that they do not have a virtual real estate available, then they will be left behind. Because that's the younger generation that's understanding. Look at the age, the Z gang which is there right now, they're living in metaverses. They're living in the virtual world. Now, what is Web 3.0?
So are you trying to say, jo dikhta hai abhi nahi bikhta hai? It's the other way around. Everything is virtual.
Physical experiences, hybrid, live concerts. See the millions of viewers coming on virtual platform in a metaverse. Like Samsung did a launch again in Decentraland. Okay, look at the kind of crowd that was there at that thing, and the audience that you get from across the globe. So
I agree with your point. There is reach, but is the experience anywhere close to a live experience? That is the point here.
That's the experience that you can
take that away.
No, you can create that experience in the Web 3.0 world. See, wearing what goggles you wear, or in future, it's going to be an understanding that you can sit in a chair and get all those experiences, feel everything, if you really do not wish to travel or move. No doubt, physical experiences is physical. I'm always the vouching first for the physical experience, because that's the real experience. A touch experience is always a touch experience, or experiencing it live in front of you is always an experience. But the same experience is available on the Web 3.0 in a virtual world also.
Let me quickly move to Harshal. You know, there was this whole gimmick about this couple in Kerala who got married on the metaverse, and after that a few others have wanted to get married on the metaverse. And so it's nice. It's a novel idea initially, but What are wedding planners like you going to do on the metaverse if things actually start moving there? And do you think this is something that's really going to be a trend going forward?
Honestly, it's not the trend which is going to take it forward. The reason is that, okay, for the experience per se, they would have done that thing, but weddings is all about experience on ground, and you can expect that thing to be virtual. Yes, virtual technology is being part of the wedding events now because most of the guests, they don't travel from all over the world. So most of the weddings, what we are doing right now, client is expecting us to have a setup for the live streaming so that, I mean, today we are doing a wedding. So the groom side, they're from Nairobi. So half of the family is over there. So we are showing it live on the YouTube Live on the other virtual platforms.
So you're saying hybrid is becoming a must for any and every
It is
event?
becoming. Let's see for how long it's going to be. Yes, technology, if you ask me, day by day, the technology involvement into wedding is increasing day by day. I mean, we have been using technology into weddings since almost a decade now. I mean, we start with small technologies, but most of the corporate technologies are a super hit into the wedding.
And do you think that hybrid currently is active just because numbers were limited by the government? Or do you think it's something that is going to become a norm, that any event you're doing is going to be kind of streamed, is going to have a web angle to it, is going to kind of have an extension to it like any other?
No, it has not become a norm, but now the clients are asking for the hybrid version because they know a big wedding of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, not everybody are going to be a part of it. So they're just giving experience to the guest. Why don't you have a look at the celebration, what we are doing, the kind of money what we are spending. So just putting it on the online platform. Other thing, what happens, whatever you're putting it on the online platform, people can again review it after time. So that's one thing why they are opting for the online platform and the tech platform because the memory stays there for years and years.
Good.
Like, now the trend has started, digital marketing of the wedding also, where for 3 months they do a complete digital campaign. And right from all the content they posted, so it becomes a digital album on the social media platform.
Yeah.
So, yes, technology, hybrid, everything is going to be a part of
So I think
wedding and social
people,
industry.
even guests want to, hosts want to make it more accessible, I think, in general. The overall wedding, they want it to be more accessible to everyone, which is why photographs on social media, you've got an extension on the web. So, but it's a great thing for our technical partners to understand that actual weddings are going nowhere. We'll still require sound, light, trussing, video, so on and so forth. I'm going to
The content is one more area where I'm sure weddings have a bigger billing than a corporate also because, now they are, I'm just saying this is after pandemic now, this is the first time the client are asking for the content, what we used to always create it for corporates. They're saying what is the home look? What is the performance look? So yes, content is something which is, that is the client has been asking now and then for the weddings also.
So quickly going to jump to Nazeef, who like me is not a fan of the metaverse or as such. Now Nazeef, you handle Mr. A.R. Rahman, you're his producer and you manage him as well. I was expecting him. He's a very forward-thinking gentleman. He's technologically very advanced. How come he wasn't one of the first folks to be up on the metaverse? And what's your take on this angle of live events happening? Everyone was gung-ho. Justin Bieber was doing this concert. Some others have done concerts. There were millions of people, and everyone said how much revenue was generated. Is this going to impact physical event ticket sales in the days come?
Interestingly, I think just covering up on all the points that we spoke in the last few minutes, as far as we are concerned, I think hybrid is all about accessibility and an extension of what could be delivered home. Yes. It cannot swap or replace what can't be delivered home. So the question in my head the last few minutes has been, should we have done this virtually itself? Should we have done this on Zoom? We may have had more than 23 people sitting, I counted. We may have had 223 people, but is the 23 important in front of us or the 200 who could have been virtually available to listen to the same things that we are speaking right now? So hybrid becomes an extension where 200 plus 23 makes it 223. So overall, it's okay. it still can't replace the on-ground experience. Like you said, a wedding is a wedding only when you experience it on-ground, all the festivities that come with it. Now, coming to the metaverse, I have my own theory, and I think you and I will get along well with this one, but it's about how you deal with it smartly. It's a trend currently. It's like real estate. Everyone's running behind the same area. But what are you doing with it, and what does it do to you? Eventually is what matters. 7 years ago, even before the term metaverse could have been coined, they made a film in Tamil, which had Rajnikant in an avatar format. Rajnikant is alive, and he's done so many movies after that. So why do you want to even create an avatar of him and give people an experience of something that you can experience him in real life? Justin Bieber is still alive, and he is still going to be doing tours. So why do you even need to create a metaverse concert, which is subpar experience as far as I'm concerned?
And do you think that, to an extent, would be underselling the artist? Because I'm guessing, I don't know the commercials, but if I'm watching a live show and say paying 5,000 rupees to watch an artist live, because of the scale, I can maybe watch that artist in 500 rupees online now instead of paying 5,000 for a live show. That also brings me to the point that there are economies of scale as well. There is more reach from the web angle as well. So what's your take on this? And Deepak, you can come in here too as well. We're talking about, like you said, we could have done this on Zoom. There would be 200. Here there are 23 people. Maybe the experience for those 23 is different. It's up close. It's personal. Similarly, I think corporates have become very, very wise about where they want to spend. I come from a corporate events background, so I can comment on that. They are very clear which events going forward they want to do virtually, because they know that the cost implication is only 25 or 30%. They don't need to book a ballroom. They don't need to have any F&B experience. And they're very clear which events require a live experience. So what do you think on this part of it, which is talking about from an artist's perspective, if the cost is really low, but there's a lot of reach? Maybe 2 million people would not fit in a venue, for example. So what's your take on this piece?
So, like I said, it's the exclusive, smart content that you create, which should be different from the arena content that is possible for a person to come. So you asked me about what Mr. Rahman was planning to do. So he is doing something on the metaverse, which could come at the end of the year, but it's not a concert that you could anyway attend in the next 6 months. It's a piece of content that you can't imagine doing on Earth, so we'll do it on metaverse.
So you're saying content curators have to be very cognizant of the fact of what they're doing for web and what they're doing for live.
Yes, and the reverse of it is, let's say Mr. Michael Jackson is no more. I cannot attend a Michael Jackson concert in LA. I should create a Michael Jackson metaverse concert with data that I have, manipulate the data, and still make it a dream come true for a person like me sitting in India to watch Michael Jackson live.
Yeah.
Likewise with probably...
So, all the classics, yeah? Elvis Presley, Jim Morrison, all of these guys, I think this is what I too would have expected. Not an artist who's performing to probably do that.
Yeah.
So I hope somebody out there is listening, and we have classics, classic artists coming back and avatars to actually perform. That makes a lot of sense.
Someone should try Jagjit Singh. You know, what a market he'll still have on the virtual world.
Yeah, Deepak.
Just a little deviation from, so this is not the experiences that we are talking about that are being created, and we have been used to create those experiences. Okay, this is more of blockchain as a new technology. On the blockchain sitting is your cryptocurrencies and the NFTs. The world which consumes that is not the world that you and me even know about. It's the different world, and it's a huge, huge, huge sea out there of those people. Like, you would be surprised that a land being sold out there is more expensive than the physical land in Mumbai on decent land, okay? Or the new monkey breed that is there, or the, these NFT creations that are happening. So what I learned from that, in fact, we at Streamy are more of now on to NFT, doing NFTs for artists. And right now we have probably signed up with top 4, not the top ones, very top ones, but like your Arman Malik's to kinds, and like 3 Idiots, those 3 characters. So we are creating NFTs for these artists. So what is happening is there is a smart contracting that's happening. valuation, like Kishore Kumar, for example. So we're working with a family right now to create their NFTs. So there the valuation, we are not sure now. Like Amitabh Bachchan has created his first poems as and on the metaverses. These are technically this is nothing but a market, which is a different
But
market.
will that really take away from the live scene?
No,
that
never.
has its own space, its own audience, and this has its own space and its own audiences.
No, these are two separate things, okay? Live events, live industry, live experiences is separate. Connect it with a hybrid setup, it goes and reaches to more. Third segment, which is Web 3.0, is an infrastructure which corporates are building. Like, for example, MG Motors or any company today, like in Cadbury's, is building its metaverses for a 14th Feb Valentine Day, people coming and meeting virtually out there. Now, that's a different environment, different experience, and a different world. We are trying to mix out here and say, ki chalo, can we do a live show out there? But that live show audience is different. Those live artists are different. If you look at it, that world is completely different. You need to actually go and experience it out there. Why are 1 million people buying tickets in Ethereum? Okay, it's not a joke. The ticket is more expensive than your regular ticket of 5,000 rupees you're talking about. It's more expensive ticket there. Why? Because along with the Ethereum, Armanif is doing a show. There is much more to it. There is a club formation. There is a contract formation. You become a part of a cult. You become a part of a setup. You know, so that's the bigger picture out there.
Is this here to stay, or is this a passing fad?
I think
Before the next big thing.
Look at
kind of
today's
comes up.
newspaper, Open Times of India, or probably open it nearly every day. Get into the business segment, and you will see this as a part of a headline. It's a news. It is going to stay because there's a lot of infrastructure being built on it, and tech is available. So in fact, our tech partners out here are losing nothing. They're in fact growing their businesses. Look at Warren, look at everyone for that matter. All the infrastructure, these LEDs are required.
So that actually is bringing me to my next point, Deepak. While the world is moving on, we're adapting. How is the workforce? How are our teams? How is the overall ecosystem and the supply chain also adapting? Of course, Warren and a couple of people are a certain, number there. But the larger numbers, this entire industry, we are primarily born out of a live industry. We are used to physicality, be it, people who are into technical solutions, be it artists, be it show directors, be it creative people. How are these people and our teams adapting? Of course, in the last 2 years, a lot of our teams had to adapt into the virtual space. We kind of touched upon it. Everyone touched upon it. Some people liked it. A lot of large agencies I know didn't even get involved in the virtual because they really weren't very convinced, and they waited it out. We all had to do it primarily because of bread and butter and not interest. Let me be very, very upfront with you. So how has the workforce adapted to this?
Okay, very basics, okay? If you look at tasks, like I have a habit of writing them still on a paper and a pen. The pads usually are provided by HARSHAL, mostly. So those pads I have been still using and I write them down. But most used thing right now to begin with on a mobile phone is setting up your tasks. Now those tasks being shared and just getting people into using Google as a platform and using Google Tasks or Google Calendars or Google. So all this Zoom call, for example, a simple Zoom meeting that I need to set with Nazeem. So what do I need to do with Nazeem is send him a link. So these things, people have just got used to it. There is no rocket science to it. And people, the moment are getting used to it, all this is getting stored on your mobile. This itself is data. And this itself, the companies are using it to their best way. And there are companies who are teaching these companies on how to make use of all this in the right fashion so that your data leaks don't happen or so everything happens. So workflow is, or the workmen that we have right now are all used, and people who do not embrace tech are going to be failing in future for sure.
So Deepak, you have always been very technologically forward as a person, from whatever I know. But what about the others? Harshal, do you think your teams have adapted or adopted any, has technology been an enabler for your teams? Look, what you're saying, Deepak, that we have all, doing a Zoom call or using certain apps, certain platforms has become very common. this would have happened eventually. I think the pandemic sped up the process. Let me
It's
put
pandemic.
it that way.
It's pandemic, which
so can you
has
tell
given
us about
that.
anything that you guys have adopted? Has
Yes,
any of
we
your
do
stuff
have.
moved
Because
on
of
to
the-
platforms?
Because of the pandemic, yes, we have started adapting to that thing. Even the team and even the client has. So what happens, like, today when I talk about the social event business, it's not about dealing with one person or two person. At times there are 20 people from the family who wants to meet at the same time. Before pandemic, we used to have a challenge that, okay, I'm doing a work for Raghav family. First I meet Raghav and his wife. Next meeting, brother joins us. Third meeting, this gentleman joins us. Now I clearly tell them, like, so the first meeting, I need to have everybody on one platform. You want to bring them live, or you want to have them on the virtual call or the virtual call.
It's made the entire communication and download easier for
It
for
has
us.
made, okay, few things have not worked in our favor. A lot of clients have understood the technology and the social media in this 2 hour span of time. So now, before I quote the client gives me the quote. कि हाँ, ये artist इतने में आता. We know it from the Instagram or the Facebook. So that's one challenge what we have. So next time, I mean, a client wants a AR Rahman, he doesn't have to call me. He can directly catch hold of him online. So that's where one challenge what we have faced. But yes, it has surely helped us in reducing the number of meetings.
So with the advent of everything being so available online, social media, like you said, anyone can connect to anyone today. Nazeef, as I'm going to talk about the artist management side now, what is the future of the relationship between artists, managers, and event managers as well? Because what's happening today, a client just has to type an artist name on Google, and in 3 seconds, the manager's details literally show up, and the client kind of is free to make a phone call and check on what it is. Now, conventionally, they always had to go through an event manager. The artist was not very reachable, not very attainable to them directly. So how do you see this happening? Is there some evolution in this space, some technology in this space that is going to help connect artists to people, and where does the event manager or the supply chain feature in that segment?
I think it's been good and bad both. What has happened is, even for us, so we manage a few artists, but then I tie up with event companies and wedding planners and say, "Aap sare artists humse le lena. We'll supply you the artists." It hung around for 10 years, but now they don't see the need to always book all the artists through me, because when I can Google that artist and get that artist manager's name, maybe I'll crack it directly. And that's become a trend. So the whole business of, let me be a one-point contact for all your artists through the calendar year, for all your weddings or all your events or all your corporate activities, that has kind of stopped because there is a direct access. We don't need to go through a trusted source. But the other side of it is, if I have a relationship with you, you know that I'll take care of the event, I'll take care of the artist, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, one department is taken care. So you could be paying me a little price for that, because you're rest assured that I'll take care of it. On the other side, as an artist manager myself, what has happened is, it's killed many layers in the middle that could have been troublesome for both the artist and the client. We tend to deal with a lot of promoters and a lot of middlemen who overpromise, and that promise doesn't come to us. And then at that point, you come and be like, you told us that you have to sing 5 of Tamil songs, and the artist is not prepared for so many little things. That communication has become stronger, effective, and linear, which could be overall in favor of all of us sitting on this panel. It could work out better. And transparency. Today, I can't fake who I don't manage. You can go verify it. So you're dealing with transparency. And if you're okay with that, then I think we're in a good space with
No, I
technology.
think that is the future. So you have to adapt to being extremely transparent with your customers as well. And I think that's got to evolve into a fee. For the people in India are not very comfortable still with paying fees, to consultants, to people, so on and so forth. And this kind of comes to my next point, which, in the digital world, there's this whole gig economy, which also kind of seems to have caught up with us. Of course, there were freelancers, there were consultants, there were project managers prior to this for concerts and very specialized tasks. But today, post-pandemic, a lot of people, a lot of the workforce, they don't want to be kind of associated with one particular agency. We are seeing a lot of dearth in the market of people. A lot of people have moved on. A lot of people have skipped industries. And this whole freelance model is coming in a very big way.
Yes, I mean, I would answer this question. Yes, there's a challenge with the market. The freelance market has increased because no one wants to work now from 10 to 7. So most of the people who work from home, they want to continue with the culture, and as a freelancer is giving their bread and butter, so they don't want to really take stress on ground. One more thing, a lot of people have left the industry, like, since our industry had a major break, so precisely the hotel industry they are suffering a lot now. Like, I work with Marriott, ITC, even Hyatt also. Till date, they are facing the manpower crisis. They take the biggest of the price points, but in terms of deliverables, they are not able to cope up because the people who have left the industry, they don't want to come back. Some of them have changed the industry. They have adapted their industry at 10 to 6 job. Our job is a 24/7 job. Like, at any point of time, you get a call and you have to go to work. So the freelance market has increased. It has given a little bit of challenge. The talent whom we lost, we are not able to regain back. I mean, that's
So
what my
Deepak,
take
do you
on that.
think we as an industry need to pivot more towards processes rather than people? More towards technology? Will that fill the void of the people that have moved out of the industry? Like Harshal mentioned, a lot of people, the hospitality industry, the entertainment industry has lost people. Is this the time for us to pivot to processes and to some sort of technology support?
See, I think I'll give it through an experience at Unilever, okay? So earlier, when we used to deal with brands, they wanted a full-fledged team, okay, of ours. So right from your filmmaking to your servicing so they were expecting everything to be done by us, which we used to do because we used to make, our revenues were coming from each of those elements. But this pandemic taught us something else and did teach the same thing to the corporate world also, that it's a collaboration world, okay? Artists, when we work today, we experienced it ourselves. Like, we had some people in our company whom we thought were the best. But when we collaborated during this period of pandemic, where we had limited number of resources and we were outsourcing these resources, and today when we outsource it, we get a better outcome because the freelancer who's operating on that particular is very super fine on the job. And corporates have believe in this, that here I am dealing with one company, that company may deal further with 10 companies. That's not my problem.
Yeah, but it's all about specialization.
Give me that delivery, give me that experience, give me that extra thing. So here, earlier we were much bothered about exposing other companies' name to the client. Okay? I don't think so that's coming in way anymore.
So you're saying today is an age of partnerships primarily, and also it helps us in the delivery. I think the experience versus the deliverable to the end consumer or the customer has become much better than what it was. I'm going to quickly come to NAZEEF, who I think, from whatever little I know, has been a strong believer of collaboration, has been a strong believer of using specialists for special tasks. You've always been of the opinion that, hey, one guy can't do it all. Now, of course, the scale at which you operate with maybe an AR Rahman is very different. Do you think something like this is sustainable model even for smaller events, for smaller artists, for smaller event companies, or for smaller events, where we are constantly hiring specialists? What's your take on this? Because you collaborate with people from across the globe. I mean, not only India.
So I think before, the idea was less open for all of us to take in more freelancers or more specialists, because we were very comfortable with the setup that we already had, with the people that we already had. That sometimes worked in our favor, sometimes needn't work in our favor, because we thought this is all we could do. With the advent of freelancers joining you and more the consultation business happening with your in-house system, you are exploring more and you're not putting a limit to yourself saying, okay, I'm maxed out. You don't have the term anymore, or the company is burnt out. You don't have the term anymore because you get another job, you hire 10 more people, you take the job, and the job is yours. So in a way, it has kind of taught us to not limit ourselves to what we have and keep adding more and more if you're getting the business. And on the note of manpower, since we discussed it, at the recently concluded expo, what I realized and what made me very proud is the average Indian talented event person is way above the Goras. And I'm very proud of it for all of us here.
That's fantastic, guys. A round of applause for ourselves.
And the way they, because luckily Expo was just a flight of 2.5 hours away in Dubai, the number of Indians who made it at every level. Usually Indians are treated, or rather they believe that the expertise is only at ground level, production level, but this time to see Indians at operational level, at mind level, planning level, finance level, intelligence, security, it only means that all of us as either heads of companies or entrepreneurs or even individuals, we can walk out of this border called India and walk into another country and tell them what they can do. And I think that is only going to help our industry grow.
So I think, guys, partnerships and collaboration is the only way forward for us to kind of...
I would like to really appreciate what NAZEEF has been doing. I witnessed his show and his work. And I think the largest collaborations that ever anybody in India had built during the Dubai Expo was him. So the number of people that were working with him during that period, and all of these people are superfine people from the industry. He could manage, put people 6 years before, I think 4 or 5 years before on, people were already there, working, building up the infrastructure.
A lot of payments are still pending.
That's not going to change in our industry, though we all hope it does. Harshal, quickly comment on the point you mentioned, people want to work from home, or nowadays there's this whole thing about work from anywhere. What do you think is the future, Harshal, Deepak, especially in agencies like ours where we're into managed events, where you necessarily can't be away, you need to collaborate, you need to be in the same room. Our teams are used to physically meeting and doing stuff. We are so many times used to sitting together and doing it. Yes, during the pandemic, we were forced to do it due to not being able to meet physically. But do you think this is going to be a trend? And then in that case, what happens to our workspaces? What is the workspace of 2030 going to be like?
I'm a firm believer that, working on ground is the best option, because we tried doing that thing for 2 years, and I would say I didn't got the deliverables more than 60%, 40% of the gap is there. And as we say that, even management is a live experience, it can't be replaced by online. Yes, the hybrid hybrid events and virtual events is a new avenue or a new vertical which is added to our business. And it's a business, it's helpful in a lot of ways that, we are not able to reach out to too many audience, which can happen on the hybrid level. And at the same time, a lot of people, a lot of corporates whom we work with, they're opting for the hybrid thing just to reduce their cost also. It's helping them, like, the sales meet, the sales target, everything is happening on the virtual front of it. But live experience is a live experience that can't be replaced by the virtual
I'm
experience.
specifically talking about the workspace.
The workspace also. The workspace also. The deliverables, what you get.
I've seen a lot of people from our industry, they've given up their offices. Some have moved to co-work, some have moved to smaller offices, and they have a system called the round robin, where 3 days a week, team A comes in, 3 days a week.
I don't think so that's going to work for our industry.
I,
for sure.
I want to speak about Harshal. I had an experience during that period. He did support me during the lockdown period, and I had an experience with him. How he pivots his way towards multiple businesses that he's built. Okay, he's such a smart cookie when it comes to money. Okay, he knows how to generate it from where. So he's built a product, a new company called Rolaris, again gone towards the supply chain segment, and he's doing cuttings on stencils. So he's built his wedding industry's infrastructure in various ways and put his own people during that lockdown period onto those jobs. So he never made anybody lose the job, but he just put each person on his, including me, he used my services also, so that I was busy during that period of lockdown, So that's, I think, so that's something which I would like to talk about him.
Thank you very much, Deepak.
So putting people in right place, getting work done from people and letting everybody make money is a great forte that he has.
Fabulous. So quickly, NAZEEF, what is the workspace of the future at, say, BTOS, at your agency?
Since the question is personal about my agency, I think we love the real estate in Bombay. We'll have an office and we'll have people working. There is no better outcome than people actually jamming physically and creating something unique. While I cannot deny the fact that it's easier for me to meet my colleagues in Bangalore and Chennai sitting here, it's always been there. We've done it over a phone call earlier. We now do it over a Zoom call. Like you said, a lot of things got sped up in the pandemic, but I think physical spaces to work and create amazing outcomes is always going to be there. 2030, hopefully, will only be a bigger office, but definitely a physical office with physical people, great ideas, great collaborations, great partners.
Great. So quickly summing up everyone's thoughts, I think what the futurenomics of our industry is, you need to be adaptable, you need to be agile. Virtual is here to stay. Hybrid is definitely here to stay. Content needs to be curated accordingly. You need to hybrid is going to be an extension of live. Live is going nowhere. We're not replacing live. So I think that's good news for everyone. So quickly, I'm just going to take a quick one-line answer as we wrap this up. Where do you guys think we're going from here in the changing map of the future? One line, one word, whatever. Where do you think we guys are going to go from here over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years? Where do you see our industry going over 2030?
In one line, okay. I think experiential yet economical.
Interesting. Experiential yet economical. That's fantastic.
My answer would be very diplomatic here. Future belongs to EMA.
All right, so he's a staunch believer. Future belongs to EMA. Harshal, in your line of business,
for me,
specifically
like,
weddings and socials.
Yeah, not for the social, for the whole event industry, the future is big money for all of us. I mean, because, the live industry is going to rock for next 5 years, and we all will be making big money. So big money is the one word which I would like to say on that.
Fabulous.
Yeah, Raghav, we want you to say a few things about what your experiences are during this period of time, yeah?
Right. So I think, very honestly, we had to adapt into the virtual space because we had to survive. Let me be very upfront with you. I myself am a person of theater and the performing arts, and I cannot take away from live experiences or even the experience of having this conversation sitting here. It's not the same thing, and I dislike Zoom calls. I dislike any of these things. But that's me personally. As an industry, I think, as I said, what was to happen 5-7 years from now has happened because of pandemic. Treat it well. Hybrid is definitely an extension. Live's not going anywhere. Metaverse, so on, so forth, will come and go, but live goes on forever. That's what I think. So thank you all for joining us. Please go ahead, post your thoughts on the EMA platforms and the social media handles at EMA India. Any questions for our panelists, we'd be happy to take right now. Otherwise, yes, sir, please. Can I quickly get a mic for him?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah,
Can we know your name, sir?
My name is DEEPAK Shah.
Okay, great.
I am basically into music. I am a raga pianist. There are very few people who plays Indian classical ragas on grand piano. That is just a thought. I just wanted to ask something, that this expo is going on, and there are a lot of artists are over here, and most of them are not popular. So what we do generally, that in India, we don't have concept of artist manager. See, we are looking at Google, we are finding out, we mail them the companies, but we don't get response because we don't have names. So how do we get in touch with you?
So,
as artists which are not known.
So, I'll tell you, sir, sign up on EMA. It's another platform for artists. And otherwise, I'll let the artist manager, NAZEEF, answer this question, please, for us.
Yes, sir.
Are you an artist manager, sir? You represent an
I'm looking for artists. I'm a musician.
Okay. So, I'll tell you something. Many times, we get a call from clients of ours, event managers, who say, we want a specific act, unique acts, new acts, upcoming acts. And we get a chance to suggest great names who are not necessarily poster names, like you suggested. There are opportunities. So I think the starting point, and not because we are here from EMA, but I think to register yourself and make yourself available, today is very easy, sir. Trust me, 10 years ago, I would have struggled to give you an answer, but with social media, with Google, with platforms that are unifying people, register yourself and make yourself available and let the people know that this is the art you have, these are the artists you have, and you will be surprised at the response you will get, because people are looking for great new acts every day. And trust me, with the kind of spectrum that we have, not every event needs a Benny Dayal or A.R. Rahman or Shreya Ghoshal or
Correct.
Michael Jackson. There are times when we need amazing talent who fit in a more friendlier price bracket. Doesn't mean an artist is small or big, it's the requirement. And I really hope and wish that from here with Palm, the kind of people you meet and the socializing you do, you'll be definitely able to kick off at some point.
And I'd definitely like to add to that, NAZEEF, no artist is big or small. There's a market for everyone, for every
Definitely.
artist. And not every big artist is a good artist. Remember that,
true.
please. So thank you so
But
much,
basically, we are
ladies
not
and gentlemen.
aware of the path. How do we go? Now,
You should meet this man
Sure.
who will take a little more responsibility
we
than the
both
four
are
of us.
Deepak.
Thank you so much, everyone. And in the words of the late Mr. Michael Menezes, the show must go on. So let's have a great year ahead and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Palm
my
Expo
gentlemen.
team, for having us over. Thanks.
Thank you so much, my panelists. Can we please stay and have a photograph of you? That was a lovely panelist. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay back for our next session on Systems Engineering for the Big Stage by Dwayne Das.